Okay, I know what to do. We are going to try to make 10 presets that are most important for electronic dance music, for all the genres. Even though I will make the presets free to download, I would strongly suggest watching the video start to end, simply because having these presets on your laptop is one thing and understanding how these presets are made is another thing. So if you understand how these are made, then you can alter the presets and make the sound yours and maybe make your even more interesting sound. So let's start Ableton and do those 10 presets together very fast. So hop in. The first one will be Ethereal brass sound, and once you are using this you will kind of aim for up and down arpeggio so that you can show the both side of the pluck sound. Sounds like this. We will be using all those oscillators, but we are going to change them slightly. Because this should be a vintage sounding patch, we're going to go for basic Moog and grab something like this, so in between the square and sawtooth, and second oscillator will be the same. This one will be a bit square wavish. Then we're gonna create an envelope. Then we're gonna tune down the sub and the oscillator A. And then fix the second oscillator. And put the second oscillator on the cutoff. One-sided, Shift, Alt. We don't need to go all the way down, something like this. Same goes to the right. Then we go all the oscillators into the filter. And then finally we were gonna put a slight noise. Put the same oscillator here. Maybe the release on both sides. And then we're gonna go for the effects. First the distortion. Use the same envelope here as well. Slight compressor. EQ, cut the lows. A delay. And big hole reverb. Perfect, really simple brass sound. And the second one will be a really classic, and it is the EDM chords. The chords will be looking like this. So we are playing continuously but changing the chords. So we are going to use both oscillators for this one, and both those oscillators will be going into the filter and sounding like the set mode. We have to fix the envelopes. And then we're going to give a unison on both of them. Second envelope goes to filter. A bit dry. And then we're going to go to FX, give a bit distortion. Then a bit chorus. A bit delay. Finally, a reverb. But here the important thing is using this envelope so that when the original sound hits, we also cut both reverb and the delay so that we can hear the original hit better. And now you can definitely play with the decay and the cutoff as well. Third one is another super classic, and it is the Legato boss. I think the boss made this sound super famous, but it is used again cross-genre in all the tracks. So let's do that. The idea behind this, if you take a look at the notes, is that you have a sustained long notes and then you have these jumps to really higher octaves to give a really bright movement and make the bass sound much more entertaining. This type of sounds often made with the more vintage sound, so I'm going to go for the basic mini again to grab these sawtooths, and then I'm going to even activate the turtle sliders with the sub as well. And then we're going to push this one octave below. This will be the 0 and this one will be 1 octave above, but I'm going to tune 5 semitones down so that when I push everything into filter, we will have this almost half chord sound. Then we're going to go mono, legato and always, and push the legato all the way up. And the movement on the filter will be done by the LFO, and we're going to put it in the .18, so. And then we're going to push this down a bit and up this one. And then we can definitely fix the envelopes a bit, maybe decrease the sustain slightly. And then we're going to go here, put the first tube distortion. And delay and reverb. Delay part will be on the high pitch like this, so we will be grabbing only those high pitch sound when we go up down. And then give a big hole reverb. And then the trick over here is basically when the sound goes up, we have to move the cutoff up as well. And here, the more aggressive filter often works a bit better, so that when you go up, when you open the filter, effects gets a bit more drastic. Yeah, just like that. And this one is a bit more genre specific and used heavily in dub techno and dub house tracks and even dub electronic track. I will say the start point is really making these triplets and then spreading them up in the octave range so that at least you have much broader sound that you can start with. And then we're going to go to Serum and we're going to pick something a bit richer on the oscillator. So I'm going to go here analog and then pick this guy for the same oscillator. And then we're going to pick German filters simply because it sounds a bit dubbier, a bit darker. So that's the main reason. I'm going to drive this a bit. And the most important thing here is getting these long envelopes and using them on both filter and the envelope for the volume envelope. So we're going to draw this up, or we can just bring the sustain down all the way really. And then put a long decay, and the decay should be a bit smoother, something like this. And we have to give a release, maybe decay a bit less. And we're going to create similar here as well. And then we're going to put this one onto filter and close the filter all the way down. And then we're going to give a long release onto both of them. There's really not much to do here. The sound comes from the playing with the effects. The first thing is putting a distortion, so the overall levels get a bit even. And then we're gonna give a chorus to make it a bit smoother. It pushed a bit dark and push a bit behind. And delay. I'm gonna get this 118 dot, but you can really use anything. And I'm gonna put it into ping pong. I'm gonna make it really heavy. And then we're going to put a filter right afterwards. And this filter will be actually moved by the LFO. So it will be opening and closing all the time. And then we're going to use really smooth, slow LFO so that it slowly moves around. And then we can compress everything. And then one of the important part is actually putting a reverb. Let's put the before the compression so that we can compress the reverb as well. A big whole reverb. The one thing that is important in this sound that we forget is actually putting a resonant sound, so this chord gets a bit more resonant. And you can make the reverb even longer, delay even longer if you want to have this really weird sensation of sounds moving around your head. And then play around with the cutoff. Yeah, that was it. And then we have the soundtrack of 2020. I don't know how many tracks that I heard with this one. It's basically taking a chord, something like this, and then using an LFO and modulating the volumes a lot so that you can hear this really weird slowing down or getting faster sound. For this one, I really like to use square waves. So what I'm going to do, activate 2 and just go for the basic shapes. Really doesn't matter that much. Gonna pick a square here and then go to the second one and go for a basic Moog. It has this nice smaller square. I'm gonna pick that up, and this one will be 1 octave above, and then everything will be going into the filter. So if I play now, not a really special sound, but we're going to push this around a bit so that we have nice detune sound, and push this one around a bit as well so that we have this really cool. And then we're going to fix the envelope, so we have to have really nice attack and then a decay on top of that. And then bring the sustain down around here. And then we're going to create a simple long attack, short decay, not sustained envelope like this. Maybe around like this will be a shorter attack. And then we are going to put it into the cutoff. This will be really small. Then we're going to get this white noise. Put it here. And then the important trick over here is putting this LFO onto different parts. So you can put in the global here, and then really use this one onto the volume level here in the global amp. But what I like to do, what I feel a bit more authentic, is you can do it separately. So we're going to put it first here, maybe goes all the way down, and this one will be a bit less, and then maybe this one will be like this, even less. So you can have a control of the volume levels differently. And if I play now, I also do it without the BPM. So idea is this: to make it a bit easier for us, I'm going to take this one, put it on here, so that I can control all the way up. Moreover, I'm going to close this up a bit more. Just like that, maybe open up. The important thing over here is making the effects, two effects, really nothing more, a delay and a reverb. You don't need anything else from this, but both is very important. For delay, I'm going to go something simple like this and put it a bit darker. So like this, and put it in ping pong if I play now. You can barely hear it. We're going to exaggerate it a bit more so that when we bring down the LFO, we can hear the delay on the sides. And the reverb, we probably need to make it a bit bigger so that ambience is bigger as well. Just like that, as easy as that. The theme sound of 2020. And the next one is the Supersaw, another Hall of Fame sound that is used everywhere. And this one will be like this, so that we go up and down. This will be quite aggressive as well, so you would like to spread the notes so that you can exaggerate the effect of going high. This one is also done heavily with the sawtooths. We're going to activate this, both of them, and then we're going to put a noise and like this, alpha, and bring the levels up. And this one is also going into the oscillator, so filter. So if we play it, first we're going to fix the envelopes, so let's bring down the sustain, and this one will be a bit more triangular like this, so that we can get a bit more sustained sound, maybe shorter as well. And then we're going to fix another envelope. This one will be a bit more aggressive, so bring down this one and make it shorter, and we're going to put it on the cutoff. Shift Alt, and then we're going to increase this. So it will be quite open, to be honest. And bring down the rest. And we're gonna drive a bit, put this one here, and then same thing on the fat as well. And then the important thing over here is really using unison and then making this big distorted sound or detune. It's almost like it's getting out of the tune, but not really. And then we can go to effects. First, grab a diode. It will make it really, really distorted. So that we will use it on the parallel. And then we're going to put a big reverb. And big spin as well. This will also detune the reverb itself. And the second envelope goes on the mix so that we can hear the original plucks a bit more. And just like that, we have the Hall of Fame Supersaw sound. And then we have the acid lead. Of course, this is another classic, especially using the acid techno. Again, very fast repeating notes. This is the most important for this sound actually. I would suggest sticking to sawtooth and square waves for this sound, because otherwise you won't be able to getting enough harmonics for the resonant sound. So let's go something like this. This is a very weird wavetable. I'm going to bring this one up, and then I'm going to just go for probably basic Moog, something like this, and use around this. And then we're going to activate the filter. The idea here is putting a lot of resonance on top of this guy. And then, if you play now, It's there, but it's not really. So we're going to drive this a bit more and then bring this down. And then we're going to put this one octave down. You can start to hear this really resonating sound, but it's still not enough. We have to fix the envelopes. The first one is this guy. Bring sustain down. Make it a bit more sustain, triangular. And the second envelope, even more aggressive. And then we're going to put it on the cutoff. And then immediately you get that sound. Unfortunately, this is not enough, but we're going to put it into mono first and put it into the legato and always and give it a bit port as well. And then important thing over here is actually putting it into the hyperdimension and distortion. So first I'm going to activate this. And then I'm going to put a distortion diode one on top of that, a heavy distortion. And I'm going to put in the beatport, and then we're going to fix this a bit like this. We almost immediately get this prodigy style distorted AC sound, and then we're going to complete it with the reverb. If you want to cut off all those highs, if you're not liking it, you can always put the EQ out. But this type of sounds really cool in the full mix, because then you have these very aggressive sounds cut through the mix. Yeah, just like that. And then we have, of course, a bass sound. We cannot miss that one. It's a driving EDM bass, or this is actually cross genre as well. You can hear it in the house, techno, and EDM all together. The important thing over here is just having this bass sound and then just jumping around a little bit so that you can get this driving effect a bit more. So for this one, again, I like to grab something a bit more richer on the harmony, so square wave-ish, sawtooth-ish. Let's grab something like this here, and then complete it with the basic moog again, get somewhere in between. And then here, the important thing is actually opening up the filters slightly. So what I mean is, if you go, for example, let's take a German, and then bring the mix a little bit down, you see that we are letting a little bit of the highs through. And this gives really nice ambience to the sound. So without anything, just bring this down. And if I play now, and let's put this one octave down as well and activate the both filters. You immediately get this driving effect. The missing part is the second envelope. We are going to bring the sustain down and then bring the decay down and put it on the cutoff. Okay, with more resonance. And then put the same thing on drive. A bit fat. And on top of that, I like to also add a noise to make it a bit even more interesting. If you don't like to have this higher end, which I will suggest you should have because it makes the bass to be here better, you can actually go full mix. like this. And then we have to fix some other parts. The first one is the mono. And then we're going to go to FX. And then first is getting a soft distortion. It sounds immediately gets crispier. And we're going to add a phaser. And then on top of that, we are going to add a chorus. And then we have this super heavy driving bass sound. This one is another classic. This one is, I think, especially utilized between 2000 and 2010, the first 10 years of the decade. And doesn't really matter, you can have any type of harmonies or melodies, just moving around the short notes. And this will be very aggressive pluck sound. You can really get this sound with any synthesizer. It only needs a one oscillator and a little bit driving this sound. So if we play the sound now, we can activate this one and put a little bit drive. The first thing is, of course, bringing down the sustain, bringing this down. And the second one, we're gonna make it extremely aggressive, super short, and put it into the cutoff and bring this down. And then we're gonna use the same very aggressive filter on drive and fat and the reverb resonance. It almost makes the sound like you're hitting a percussion sound. And make it even more aggressive, we're going to turn this on. We're going to send it to filter as well. And then we're going to pick something a bit darker, something maybe like a ping noise. And then we're going to put aggressive sound even on top of here, aggressive envelope. And then we're going to go to FX. First, put a distortion. This assume distortion makes a really warm sound. And then we're going to give it a bit delay. And we're going to use very dark reverb, and this is really important. So you have to cut all the highs and then one important thing that you can actually do is using this envelope on the tuning. Making it a bit unstable in the. Let's put it into mono. And another important thing is when you are using this type of plug sounds, you can put the envelope on the mix of the field, the delay and the reverb as well. You put it down. So when the plug hits, we are cleaning up the effects. So easy, simple, very effective plug sound. And the final one is one of my favorite. Is really this really ringing sound or the bell sounds. I've just picked a simple chord progression, but you can pick anything really. They work almost with the plugs. They work with anything. For this one, we are not going to use nothing more than single sine wave. So what I'm going to do, pick the first sine wave that I can get here and put this one also in the sine wave, and everything goes into filter. And let's turn on the filter. And then we're going to put this on the 1 octave above, so that, and then we're going to put this 2 octave above, and this one will be 4 octave above. But I'm going to bring the level of this one down at the moment. If I play now, this really elegant sound, I would say. To make it even more interesting, we're going to put this in 3 and then play one more time. And then we're going to bring the volume of this one. So it's really nice warm sound. And then we're going to fix our decay time a bit longer. And a bit sustain as well. And then a long release. Really, really nice sound. We're going to drive it slightly, give a bit fat, a bit resonance. And then we take the second and then make a envelope like this and put it on the cutoff. Make it really long as well. And then we're going to take this one and put it into the tuning so that we have this nice, really retro sound because of the unstable. And then to make it even more crispier, we're going to make the third oscillator really fast decay on this one. And then we're going to put this one onto the level of this guy. So it adds this percussive sound. And then we're going to go to FX. First, put a hyperdimension. Put it into 2. Bring the size of it. Just make the sound a bit more ambient. And then we are going to use a chorus. And then a bit of phaser. And then I'm going to use a plate reverb on top of that. If you are not happy with, for example, the decay time, maybe you want to make it a bit more smoother, you can always increase them like this. And may finally put another filter if you like to make it really dark, and maybe cut off with blue. And yeah, that was it for today's video. Like I mentioned earlier, these presets are free to download. Link in below. And if you like the presets, I have 3 different preset packs on Mercurial Tones. I will put the links below as well, so you can head over and get more presets from me. But other than that, this is the end of this video. I will catch you next one. Goodbye.